In a narrow alleyway of Shinsekai, Osaka, stood an old tattoo shop hidden behind a pitch-black wooden door. It bore no name, no glowing sign, only a faded, blood-red Norn curtain hanging at the entrance. On that fabric was inscribed an ancient talismanic script drawn in deep crimson ink. And if one stared long enough, they could almost swear the ink was moving. People called this place Yomichi, the Path of Spirits. They said the shop only accepted those who were chosen, not ordinary passers-by, but souls led there by the spirits that followed them. Yuto, a 9-year-old tattoo artist, gifted with artistic talent since childhood. He was raised by his grandfather, a master from the old generation of Osaka tattooists, but his grandfather's shop was shut down after a series of strange, unexplained incidents. One customer had mysteriously died within 3 days of getting a dragon talisman tattooed on his back. Yuto grew up with his grandfather's solemn warning.
"Never tattoo a talisman without a prayer," his grandfather had said, "for the ink won't know whom it must protect or whom it must kill."
But Yuto became obsessed with a forbidden talisman his grandfather had hidden away. It was known as Kamekuro, the cursed tattoo of Osaka. The design combined ancient Japanese kanji with archaic Thai script, an unsettling fusion of two worlds that should never have met. Legend said it was created by a half-Thai, half-Japanese tattoo master during the Meiji era, a man rumored to have carved souls into skin instead of mere ink. They whispered that this talisman did not protect people, it protected the curse itself. One day, Yuto stumbled upon his grandfather's old sketchbook. Inside, he discovered an ancient formula for tattoo ink, the very ink once used to craft the forbidden talisman. But one ingredient made his blood run cold. Ink mixed with the blood of a virgin girl who died in agony. Yuto didn't believe in spirits, he believed in art. To him, this was not blasphemy. It was the secret that would make him a legend. Under the dim light of the abandoned shop, the air was thick, with the scent of ink and rust. The brittle sketchbook trembled in Yuto's hands, its pages stained with what looked disturbingly like dried blood. Across the paper, a faint note read, "The blood must belong to one whose heart remains pure. Otherwise, the talisman will never awaken." Yuto became consumed by the formula. He locked himself inside the shop night after night, candles flickering around the wooden table. The image of a girl being tattooed haunted his mind, repeating over and over, until at last, he decided to recreate the Kamekuro curse mark once more. And that was the moment the ink began to breathe. On a moonless night, Yuto ground the black powder into a porcelain bowl. The pestle scraped against the rim, echoing. In the suffocating silence, when he dropped a few thick crimson drops into the mix, the sharp scent of blood filled the room, though there was no blood to be seen. The candle flames quivered, as if brushed by an unseen breath, and on the wall, behind him, his shadow bore an extra smile, where no mouth should ever be. That night, there came 3 knocks at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Yuto froze. He was certain he had locked the door from inside. When he opened it, a woman stood there. In the rain, she wore a pale white kimono, her long black hair clinging to her neck. Her lips trembled with cold, yet her eyes were unnaturally still. She slipped off her cloak, revealing her pale, porcelain back. Scars overlapped one another, as if she had been tattooed, erased, and tattooed again and again. Yuto felt something stir inside his skull, a faint chorus of women's laughter, echoing softly, like it came from beneath his skin. Draw it on me. The Kamakuro sigil. She smiled, but her eyes were nothing but hollow, empty sockets. Yuto's hands trembled as he raised the needle. The candlelight flickered wildly, as if the very air had grown heavier when the needle touched the woman's pale skin. The ink flowed in on its own before he even pressed down. A faint hiss filled the room, like the ink was boiling beneath her flesh. The sigil began to take shape, line by line, character by character. A crimson glow shimmered beneath her skin, as though her blood itself had begun to shine. Then came a whisper, a chant rising from the ink. It was in a language Yuto did not know, yet somehow he understood every word. Don't stop. If you stop, it won't awaken completely. The woman's voice spoke, though her lips never moved. Yuto froze, but an unseen force compelled his hand to continue. The deeper the needle pierced, the louder the chanting grew, until it nearly drowned out the sound of his own heartbeat. And when the final stroke was drawn, she turned her head slowly, her smile stretching far too wide for anything human. Thank you for waking me once more. Her voice echoed inside Yuto's skull, and then everything went black. When Yuto opened his eyes again, the first light of dawn spilled through the window. Every candle had burned out, leaving only thin trails of smoke curling in the air. He's Saturday, in the middle of the shop, completely alone. Ink splatters stained the floor, yet the woman was gone. He looked down at his arm. Black veins of ink were spreading beneath his skin. A sharp pain shot through his body. He staggered toward the mirror. What he saw made his heart freeze. The Kamekuro sigil was carved across his own back. Yuto couldn't comprehend it. He remembered tattooing her, but in the mirror he saw only a woman's reflection standing behind him. She smiled and reached out, gently touching the sigil etched into his back. Your body is beautiful, perfect to contain me. A whisper brushed against his ear, and Yuto's body collapsed, drained of all strength. From that day on, the Yomichi tattoo shop remained silent. The black wooden door was nailed shut with rusted iron. Yet on some nights, locals swore they still heard the buzz of a tattoo needle and the faint laughter of a woman drifting out with the scent of blood. They say that anyone who walks through that alley at midnight, if you hear someone calling your name, don't turn around, for what's waiting behind you may no longer be human. It was months before anyone found Yuto's body. He sat lifeless before his work table in the same position. He once tattooed others. His back was covered with a sigil that seemed to move on its own, and in his hand he still clutched the tattoo needle, the tip buried into his own flesh. The story of Yuto and Miho became a legend among Japan's tattoo masters. They say that anyone who looks upon the Kamikuro sigil and feels it move before their eyes means you've already been chosen by it. Not to bear it as a tattoo, but to continue the curse. For every sigil has its own life, and every ink carries a soul.